Hello everyone, my name is Leon. So today we're going to go through this question. It's a question about linked list and it's a question from our practice exam. So the question is basically that there are two pointers. One is called RNG first and the other is called RNG last. So these two pointers are pointing to two nodes and our goal is to move the nodes enclosed by these two pointers way to the back of the list. The idea is very simple, but it may be a kind of complicated to deal with this question because there are so many pointers you need to deal with, and you might get wrong if you are not so careful about um, the pointers and the nodes. So my suggestion is that you should draw the diagram out. So I've already drawn a diagram out. I will pull up my diagram here. Okay, and you can see that in this diagram there are five nodes. I have already indexed it, and there are two pointers called RNG first and RNG last that are pointing to two nodes. So RNG first is pointing to node 2, RNG last is pointing to node 3. So our goal is to move node 2 and node 3 way to the back of the list so we can draw our outcome. That is the graph after we finish the function, after I drawn it out. So I put it here. You can see that now after we completing the function, node 2 and node 3 will be put at the back of the list. Okay, so now we can start solving this problem line by line. So the first line is if RNG last is equal to last. What does this mean? It means that RNG last is already pointing to the last element of the list. So in this case, we just need to return the function and terminate the function because the RNG last is already pointing to the last element and we don't need to do anything about it. Okay, so the next line is, the next line is RNG last, next, and previous equals to something. It's really confusing, right? But once you have drawn the diagram, it will be so clear to see. So RNG last, next, and previous. Okay, RNG last in our case is node 3, and next, that is this pointer, that is pointing to node 4, and previous. So you can actually see RNG last, next as node 4, and its previous is this pointer. It's a pointer that I have already highlighted. Okay, so what kind of value or what kind of nodes should be assigned to these pointers? So we can go through the outcome diagram. It will be so clear to see. So you can see that here in node 4, the previous pointer should point to node 1. So node 1, why is node 1? Because node 1 is the node right before RNG first. Okay, so it's very clear to see. We can assign RNG first. We can assign the node right before RNG first. That is RNG first previous to the left hand side. Okay, so now we have modified this pointer. We can kind of draw a diagram. We use a red color to differentiate. Okay, so the next line. If RNG first previous, this means that RNG first previous is not a null pointer. So if it's not a null pointer, this means that RNG first is not pointing to the first element of the list. Okay, so we go through this line. RNG last, next. What does this mean? It's RNG last in our case is node 3. Next pointer, that is this one. And it's actually pointing to node 4. So this whole thing is pointing to node 4, which is the node right after RNG last. So node 4 should be assigned to something. So we can go through the outcome diagram. We can see that node 4 is assigned to node 1 or node 5. Yeah. So in this case, because after we move these two nodes to the back of the list, node 4 will be moving forward. So node 4 will write after node 1. So it's actually the node 1 that we're pointing to node 4. Okay. So in this case, how we can represent node 1? That is RNG. Use RNG first and previous. That is node 1. So node 1 has two pointers. One pointer called next in node 1 should pointing to node 4, just like what we have done in outcome diagram. So it's the next. Okay. So again, we need to modify this diagram. So up to now, we have already fully connected node 1 with node 4. Okay. So here we continue. There's an else. So this means that if the RNG first is actually pointing to the first element of that list, so what can we do? So in this case, the first pointer, that is the pointers of the whole list. So in this case, first we're just pointing to RNG last, the nodes right after RNG last. Why is that? Because RNG last will be moved to the back. So the nodes after RNG last will be the first node. Okay, so we assign RNG last and next to the first node, right? And then we continue. Last next, what does this mean? So last next in our case is actually node 5. So node 5 for this pointer is actually the pointer here. I highlighted in this diagram. So 5 next should be pointing to what? That is, we move these two pointers right to the back, and these two pointers will be connected directly to the last pointer. So actually that is node 5 should pointing to node 2, right? Because we put these two pointers right to the back. Okay. So we will assign node 5, that is last pointer. Next, we should assign it to the RNG first. So we need to modify this diagram. Okay. And the next thing is the last pointer should be assigned to what? That is node 2, because node 2 is right after node 5, after we finish this function. So the last pointer should be RNG first. Okay. Should be RNG first and previous. Because the last is a node, we should assign it to a pointer that is previous. So we'll further change our diagram like this. Okay, so for now we will rearrange this diagram because it's kind of messy now. So we need to rearrange it. So we have 1, 4, 5, 2, 3, because we have already moved it to the back. So 2 now is pointing to 5. 2 and 3 are still connected. 2, 3 is pointing to 4. And 5 is pointing to 2. 2 is pointing to 5. Okay. So 2 and 5 are fully connected. How about 1 and 4? 4 is pointing to 1. And 4 is pointing to 5. 4 and 5 are still connected. Yes. 3 is still pointing to 4. How about 1? 1 is pointing to 4. Yes. So now it's very clear that we still need to address these 2 pointers. So how can we do that? Um, oh, these 2 are duplicated, sorry. So I need to address this only these pointers. So in this case, orange last next, that is these pointers should be freeze. It should be pointing to the nowhere. So we should set a no pointer to it. So then we are done, right? We compare it with the outcome. Are they the same? Yeah, correct. Okay, so that's my explanation of this question. I hope it will be helpful for you. This kind of question is not that hard, but once you draw out of diagram and be more careful about it, you can solve the question. Good luck on your exam. Thank you.